Welcome back, guys, to my channel. So if you're a new subscriber, please don't forget to subscribe. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for coming. Please don't forget to like and to share. So today we just want to cover the tracking plan. So we are in this series of personal finance management, and in this series of personal finance management we started covering the financial goals, and then we went on to financial plan, and then today we just want to cover the tracking plan. So if you had not watched the video about the financial goals, you need to go back and watch that video, because in my personal view there are several ways like around how to manage your finance, etc. But I feel like, to me, it makes more sense when I've set up first my financial goals, because I've realized sometimes, yes, people, they say there's a 50-30-20 rule where you like, oh, 50% to spend it on your basic needs, 20% on your wants, and then 30% yourself. But to me, those percentages, honestly, they don't work for me. So I prefer to set up my financial goal, because at the end of the day, if I just say 30%, it's 30% of what? What do I want to do with that 30%, and when do I want that thing to happen? Because sometimes maybe if it's 30% of 100 is 30% of 1000 is 300. So if I want to achieve something maybe in 5 years time, and maybe that thing actually requires me to be setting up maybe $10 each and every month or that. So at the end of the day, to me, I would rather start by setting up my own personal financial goals. And my personal financial goals, if they are just balanced, to say I'm including the income, I'm including the spending, the debt goals, the investment, the saving goal, to me that way is easier, and it also motivates me, because at the end of the day I know what I really want to achieve and when and everything. So please go back and watch that video or about financial goals, right? And then in the next video we then covered the financial plan, which is you now actually saying, okay, with these financial goals I'm now putting them into a financial plan. And today we are covering tracking plan, because for you setting your financial goals, yes, you know what you want to do and you know where you want to go, you have direction and everything, and you have actually set up down, and you have actually set up your financial plan. But the third thing that you now need to do is, sometimes things do not go the way we have planned them. So at the end of the day, you need to sit down, relax, and review and see if you are even on the track, and see if you need to adjust. Like, it just gives you flexibility. After all, it's your personal finance management, but at the end of the day we are accountable in terms of the resources that we have been given. So at the end of the day, we should just not spend those resources like just spending anyhow, right? Also, if you're someone, I'm not sure if you've had this experience where you actually go out and you tell yourself, you know what, you just want to buy maybe sugar, and then you end up coming back with bananas, yogurt, like all those other things, or even you end up like coming up with a new phone and all those things. So, and then sometimes you then are like, oh, I no longer have money. It's because I'm not earning much. You be like, oh, okay, if my business was giving me more, or if my employment was giving me more, or my side hustle, etc., I would have been actually better. But is that so? Because maybe a lot of times you are spending things on the things that you don't want, to please actually people that you even don't want. That's the other thing as well. And sometimes because you're just looking at the affordability, and then you're not really thinking through, okay, yes, in as much as I can afford this thing, but do I really need it? Did I even plan for it? Yes, I might need it, but then maybe, okay, I'm like, oh, you know what, wait, Brenda, I need to go back and revise my financial plan, put this thing, because I've actually assessed that I need this thing as part of me fulfilling my life goals, my purposes, and just to have financial peace. Imagine a situation whereby you are just always all over, things are always not enough, simply because you just spend sometimes, etc. So that's the purpose of the tracking plan. It helps you to make the best out of what you have, right? And it also helps you to even be more efficient and achieve your life goals, and to be just within the track, and just giving you financial peace actually. So what do you need for you to be able to do the tracking plan? So the first thing that you need is to find your own way of doing your tracking plan. So there are a lot of applications that you can actually use. You can just go online and get one of the applications. You can just say financial tracker, expenses tracker, personal expenses tracker, etc., and then you can actually go on Play Store or App Store and then have those applications for you to be able to trace, right? And then, or you can use an Excel, or you can actually just be writing down. Just depends with how you want it. Like, you just need to make it as simple as possible, because it's not like your main business at the end of the day, but still it's going to be a very key thing, right? So after you have done that, like after you've actually selected your own method, I prefer using an Excel, because Excel to me is flexible and I can always make adjustments. I can do whatever I want. But then if I'm using an application, sometimes it gives me certain expenses category that I actually don't want, and maybe I actually have another expense category that is not included in the list. So me using Excel is just flexible for me. And then that's the first thing. So after you have selected your own method of how you want to track, the second thing that you then need to do is set yourself times, like defined period, to say, okay, I want to be tracking my expenses every week or every fortnight or every month or something, or daily. I don't know how you want to be tracking. After setting up, to say, okay, after every week I'm going to sit down, give myself 10 minutes and reflect. This is what I planned and how am I doing in terms of that, right? And then the third thing that you need to do is for you to actually set dates for you to actually go and make some purchases, because it also helps you and guide you also, and try to reduce the amount of work that you actually need to do. Because if you know that, you know what, I only go to buy like on the first month, on the first day of each month, you know that it's easier for you to track. And then other than the first day of the month, I also need to buy some perishables, and then maybe I buy them like a weekly or something like that, so that it's easy for you to be tracking, right? And then the other thing that you can actually do, is for you to set up some direct debits. Open different accounts. That's the other thing that I've noticed. Sometimes you end up like, whenever you look at something, it's easy for you to just buy because you feel like in your mind there's a lot of money. And now for you to be able to say, oh, okay, I need to calculate to say, okay, this one is for saving and it's just in one account, it will be difficult. So just set up different accounts. Open a savings account, open an investment account, open an account for you to just do your expenses and everything. That way is even easier, because if you have a specific card that you actually just use to say, oh, okay, this is my card for expenses, it's easy, because you can always go download your bank statement, and after you take through your bank statement, and then now you can easily then track right from your bank statement. So what you need to do, if you are using cash, some people, they try to restrict themselves by using like those cash boxes where you can actually lock, or maybe it's something that is almost difficult for you to be removing if you are. But that's the other thing that we also discussed. If you go in the ways to save, the other video that I recorded, that's one of the worst ways that you can save, because cash is affected by inflation, right? So if you save cash, just know that you are saving less than what you should actually be saving, right? So after you have set up your separate accounts and you now have your expenses account, you set up your direct debits for bills, for rent, for whatsoever that you are just paying. If you can, for especially for fixed costs, just set up direct debits. Once you get your money into your other account, and then you set up direct debits to your expenses account, and then from your expenses account you set up direct debits for rent, for etc, and then it then becomes automatic to go there. And then after doing that, now when on that day that you have actually said to say, I want to be doing my financial tracking, you then take your application whatsoever, and then you'll be like, oh, okay, I had budgeted to say for expenses I'm going to spend this, like, you know, like we try to differentiate the expenses, to say there are expenses which are basic, like which are your bills, and then there are which are more like fixed, and then also there are some variable expenses, and then there are also other things like casual costs, like going for a travel, or maybe for no reason, money, etc, or those other expenses. And then you try and categorize, and then now you'll be like, okay, this is the money that I said I should save for my casual course, but why is it that I'm spending so much? And then you'll be like, oh, okay, this is what happened and I need to adjust. And then you do the same for all other expenses. Sometimes when you track, you actually then see, oh, this is my almost like my lot of money is actually going maybe for rent. And then you can actually review and adjust to say, you know what, I think I just need to move out and find a cheaper place. Because now you can actually see the reason why you are saying you don't have money is because you're paying a lot of rent. And then you just simply adjust your lifestyle. Something that you're like, oh, I'm spending a lot of much in terms of my travel, in terms of my restaurants, in terms of my lunch at work, etc. You then easily see that, you know what, I can actually be carrying my lunch. So that's the advantage of you actually tracking. So you'll be like, okay, this is what I budgeted, this is what I actually expended, so how best can I make the best use of my resources that I have? So in conclusion, I'm just going to show you the Excel, right, how it looks like, and then you guys can see. Okay guys, so this is my Excel spending tracker. So you see this Excel covers the financial goals, personal financial plan, which we've already covered in another video. Today is just me showing you the spending tracker. So I use this tracking plan where I say this is what this was my plan and this was my tracked costs. Right, this was my financial plan and then this is my tracked cost, and then I try and see the difference so that I can try and see how best I can improve. And actually it gives me more awareness in terms of where is my money really going and everything. So you see that it covers all the 5 aspects, which is the income, which is the savings. But all these are the things, they're easy to actually track, honestly. Like even the bills, they're easy to track. So these variable costs are the ones that I try and manage using the spending tracker. So what I try and do is I put what I've planned to spend, and after putting what I've planned to spend, and then on the date that I make my own purchases, to me, I make my own purchases like first week of each month. So after that first week, I can actually sit down and plug my numbers, and then also at the end of each month I then also sit down, plug in all the numbers and see that is tying to what the cash balances that I have and everything, and try to see, okay, where could I have spent better, or maybe I can actually try to look for a cheaper supplier as well. So it helps me. So here I just put so if I'm using a bank statement, it's not difficult for me to do this, because which is something that I use most so often, I just go into my bank and then I'll download my bank statement and come here and then just press by date description and then also press the amount. And then after that, now I just assign the categories. There is a drop down and then I just come here, this is Vax cleaning solution, and then I just pick cleaning, and then this is detour. I just come here and also pick cleaning. Yes, I just pick cleaning, and this is rice. Just come and pick food. This is olive oil. I also come and pick food. So I'll just be picking, and then these are socks. I just come here and pick clothing. Right, and then so at the end of the day, these are my amounts and everything, and then I can say, oh, okay, this is the total for December, and then I can then come here, there's a summary where I'll then be able to see, oh, okay, for food I've spent 12 pounds in this month, and then I just copy this figure, and then now I go into my tracking plan, and then under food I'll just put my 12, and then it will give me a difference. Maybe I had planned, like, maybe I don't know how much I had planned, and then it will give me a difference. Now I can actually see where is my money really going. And then sometimes if I see like a lot is just going maybe to somewhere where I actually don't want, it's not even meeting my financial goals, I sit down, revise and reflect. And then lastly, in conclusion, I'm just saying that, guys, just know that rare skill is the skill to manage your money. A lot of people, they feel like, you know what, like I will start to manage my money when I actually have a lot of businesses, like big businesses and all that. But you actually realize that you can start to manage your money. It doesn't mean like you need a lot of money. Like, it's not by mistake that you have those resources that you have. God actually saw it like, oh, you know what, if I give Brenda this so much, she'll be able to use it. And if we don't use those resources like wisely, you know what, we are going to not to have peace. And when you're going to be asked like, how did you use these resources, you'll be shocked that much of your money you're just spending it on clothing when you're supposed to have achieved like a better life goal, a better life purpose in life. So you need to be able to, so even if it's a skill that you actually don't even learn at school, even if you say, oh, you know what, I'm very good in numbers, like personally I have a background of using numbers, but I struggled with my personal finance. And when I had to sit down, you know, I was shocked on some of the things that I was just spending money. And most of the times I'm like, okay, but now sometimes I don't have money. And then when I came back like to the drawing board, I was like, oh, this is where my money is going, you know. And then I was like, oh, okay, this is how I can actually adjust so that I can achieve my own life goals. And everyone, like I said, at the end of the day, we all have different life goals and we are at the different stages of life. So we can't really be prescribing like, okay, this is how much you need to be saving, this is how much you need to be spending, because we have different we are at different stages of life, different pages of the books of life. So we can't really be prescribing. To me, it also becomes very taxing, honestly, to say, oh, you need to spend this. I prefer to follow my own goals, follow what I really want, follow my own passions, follow, you know, like things that I really want, and make sure that I'm making the best use of the resources that I have to achieve all the things that I want. Otherwise, thank you. Don't forget to subscribe, to like, and to